Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everything in between. Welcome back. It's a Pacific Northwest day. And on this live, we are going to be talking about what went wrong with my bushcraft shelter. This is the start of a new series. If you're new here, we're going to do a live every Wednesday. Talking bushcraft, talking about shelters, giving you exclusive behind the scenes sneak peeks. So hit that notification bell, mark it down on your calendar. This is what went wrong. There's a big old tree here, and it fell directly over the top of my shelter. Now, it didn't hit the shelter and destroy it out specifically. It still looks like it's holding up okay. It's still pretty wet in here. I mean, soaked. That ground is absolutely soaked. So, and when I was setting this up, I thought I should have known. Thank you, Mr. Pickles. That makes the first 2 minutes of this video absolutely worthless, but it could have been 2 hours. I appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, so we're out here in the forest working on this survival shelter build. Basically just discussing about what I went wrong with. I built this out of rotten wood and a tree fell on it. So we're going to hopefully move spots, find a drier ground, and start all over. This is the start of a new series, Survival Shelter. And this is kind of just a behind the scenes, what went wrong, how I screwed up, and what I hope to do to fix it. So first off, I'm just going to salvage what I can from this old shelter. But before I do that, I think I'm going to spot locations. I'm going to walk around. I thought this spot was great because of all the down trees and everything. But because of all the down trees, that should have been a red flag. It should have been a flag that this wood is rotten and this area is unsafe to build in. So I'd love to find like a big stump or something I can kind of build off of that has a natural backdrop to it. The problem is out here in the Pacific Northwest, the brush is thick. I mean, really thick. This is kind of cool. This is where I spend a lot of my time. This is a chanterelle mushroom. It's a golden chanterelle mushroom. These things are fucking delicious. Building a survival shelter here would at least guarantee me a source of food in the spring. But there's a whole... I spend hours looking for these things. Sorry to get distracted from the main objective. But the golden chanterelle, as you can tell, because it's kind of fluted, has a little golden. You gotta cook them. You can't eat them raw. There's a small patch of like 20 or 30 here. I'm going to leave them alone. Because if you leave them alone, let them... I'm going to try to wipe this off. Sorry, it's a foggy, rainy day here in the Pacific Northwest. that is awesome. If you leave those mushrooms alone and you just let the mature ones rot out on the ground, it spreads that micro whatever around, and hopefully we can get those to spread. There's another little patch right over here. I'll flip you guys around. This is kind of the area we're scouting. Hopefully we're not too glitchy. Anytime I move, yeah, Mr. Pickles, that is a definite hobby of mine. This brush is so thick, it's hard to set up a good shelter. I have a place in mind where I've built a previous shelter before. There's the old one there. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, I could probably make it work. It had the nice ridge line. That tree that I'm using for the ridge line is alive. It's just that tree that fell down there makes it nervous. And a lot of these larger trees are rotting out. I mean, there's no consistency to these trees whatsoever. They're just widow makers or ticking time bombs. Yeah, I mean, just like that, it's pushed over. So there's the old shelter there. Most of this greenery, I'm going to try to save my tarp here. But all this wood that I use is just rotting out. I mean, this insulation here, I'll probably take that to the next spot. But the wood was just too far gone. You know, I thought I just failed, to be honest. I just failed. So it looks like there's a game trail here, and this is actually where I came in. It leads back to my, well, we'll head that way, but we're scouting spots, looking for dry ground. It is absolutely pouring down rain at the moment. It's kind of nice to be in the thicker brush. But we're looking for possible spots that aren't too overgrown. I was thinking this might be a spot down here. Hopefully I'm not all glitched out. Maybe if one of the admins could briefly touch on picture quality, I'd sure appreciate that. But this spot right here is pretty cool. These trees here all got a lot of life into them. They'd make for great little ridge lines. It's pretty well sheltered, and we have a source of fresh water. Now, I wouldn't say this water here is safe to drink. It would be after boiling it. You do got some big dead logs, timber. See, that's what I'm worried about. A lot of the wood out here, thank you, Pickles, is rotten. And I pushed that over one-handed, and I'm only 4'9" and weigh 85 pounds soaking wet. So rotten wood in this area is a real problem. But I'm thinking this could be spot number one. You know, there doesn't seem to be too many downsides. We have some more established trees here. I think if I cleared out a nice base here, maybe run a couple logs. This is spot, we'll call this spot number one. I'm going to show you where my old shelter was. And, you know, I like these. These are huge hemlocks here. These hemlocks are probably, 60, 70 years old. just beautiful. But as you can see, well, we had a massive storm move through, and there is down trees just everywhere, absolutely everywhere. This is kind of the game trail that I followed in, and the home of my original shelter. And the reason why I chose to not build there again is because it's limited on resources. I'd have to drag, but as you can see, it kind of opens up, and we're actually on like a little sandbar. There's a large wetland right there, and then off to this side as well. This kind of opens up. We're currently all in swampland or marsh or slough or whatever you want to call it. So I mean, you can see there's a wetland there, and then there's just a wetland off to the other side as well. So I think this is the spot, or we're coming up to a spot, and it is absolutely wet today. Busted a prop on the boat getting out here. Sliced my thumb open. So we're bleeding, but just a little bit. And rain, wind, beautiful day for bushcraft in the Pacific Northwest. I think this is going to be home. This is the site of my original shelter here. It was a little lean-to. And I like this spot because it's in thick pines. We do have some building material here. That was the original lean-to design. And I like it. And I could modify it to make it work a little bit better. But I'm not sure if I should continue with it or start completely new. And the reason why I like this spot is there's still rotten wood everywhere. Don't get it twisted. But we are definitely a lot closer to our entry point of how we access. It's a nice thick crop of, I think they're hemlocks. It's raining like crazy, but in here, this is dense. The ground is dry. A lot of the wood is rotten, but it's super close to the creek that I live on and typically fish. This is the only way back here is that trusty vessel right now. It's going to have about 6 inches of rain in it by the time I get home. But there's actually a little beaver dam here. He's flooded out. And then we kind of pan out, and that way is it runs a couple miles and eventually into a larger lake. Like I said, the only way back here is through this narrow creek. And right in there is where I think my new home to build some sort of bushcraft shelter is going to be. You can see, because it's a game trail, it's going to be a little, there's animals that move through here. You can tell this is all stripped out by bucks, possibly deer or elk. I saw elk last time I was out here, which isn't abnormal, but it's not normal. We get lots of deer, but we don't get a whole lot of elk. There are bears and coyotes. And like I said, I think this is going to be my spot. I've built a shelter here in the past. The ground is pretty dry. I built a little tree stand up there where I hung up a Temu hammock. I think this is the spot. Let me know if you guys are just casually lurking in the background. But I honestly think this is a good spot. Most of these trees here have a lot of life in them. They're not all rotten out. They're pretty sturdy. I think it'll do well. I have access to the pond if I want to go, or the canal, whatever you want to call it. If I want to do some fishing, I think that's a pretty big selling point. I just don't know if the original shelter is going to be quite big enough. I guess right now it's a lean-to. It's only filled in on one side. I think if I made it an A-frame, that would give me an additional... I know I'm not a big guy, but I'd have to go A-frame for sleeping purposes. Yeah, sorry, kind of brain fog there. I'm about a quart of coffee low and it's pretty wet. I think what I'm going to do now is go back to the old site. I think I'm sold on this one. I think this is going to be the place of where the magic, so to speak, happens. And I'm going to gather some materials. I'm going to save as much materials as I can off of the old site and try to gather as much as I can for the build. Shout out to that guy. He is Indian. That's awesome, man. I am American and I am from the Pacific Northwest, and we are trying to do some bushcraft on a rainy day. I think the plan, sorry for the weird lag there, but let's go get that other material. Let's go see if we can find the tarp, save the tarp, and maybe even some of that foliage we were using for insulation. The plan isn't to necessarily start construction on the new shelter. It was just to locate a safer spot. And sorry, trying to keep the camera dry in the pouring down rain. But I'm gonna tell you something, this might suck a little bit, but I love it. There is nowhere else I would rather be than right here, getting soaked. See, this is a spot too, and you know, it's all relative, because I mean, we came into some pretty, I guess we're almost back by spot one. We're almost at the original shelter. Just need to pick a plan and go for it. The reason why I like this is there is a ton of not rotten wood here, and there were chanterelle mushrooms. Who doesn't love chanterelle mushrooms? But like I said, it's just this area just isn't safe. I mean, we got a fogged up camera lens, but I mean, there are some massive down trees, and if I would have been in that shelter, I would have probably been peeing my pants, you know? I mean, realistically, this brush is so thick, I could crawl under there, throw a sleeping bag, and just be done with it. But I don't think that's the move. There's the tree that fell. Missed the shelter, but not by much. You know, had I been in that shelter, it would have been all bad. So I think the plan here is to pull that tarp off, gather up materials, and move on to sorry about that, trying to find a good place for you guys to hang out. A little bit wet out today. You know, it's absolutely pouring down rain. I think the shelter itself would have worked. I guarantee you it's significantly drier under there than anywhere else. But the fact that this big tree right here fell and almost took me out, and there's tons of other ones around it, tell me it's best to move. So I'm going to try to get some of these sticks off of here, see if there's anything. Hey gamer, good to see you, man. Yeah, it's a wet one. It's not the Amazon by any means. It's home. This is where I live. Welcome to the Pacific Northwest. I'm gonna try to save what I can out of this. I'm gonna try to work as quickly as possible because it's a wet one. And we'll move to the different spot. Cannibalize this, see what we can get. Let's get to it. This is solid plant. It grows everywhere. It makes up for the vast majority of the underbrush. And we're going to use it as insulation. I gathered this up on the last video, and I'm hoping I can use it as well because it wasn't easy to gather. We almost got the tarp off. Let's keep going. Finner, gamer, I think you're my tea drinking friend, if I'm correct, or you're Canadian, one of the two. Not a whole lot of difference. But yeah, we're out here and we're trying to build a survival shelter. All new series. If you're new here, check it out. Survival shelter build every Sunday at 11. And we go live every Wednesday to talk about it, where you get exclusive behind the scene footages. Smash that notification bell so you don't miss it. If it keeps raining like this, though, you guys are going to have to get a hat on because I'm not trying to fry my gear. Let's finish up what we're doing here. Salvage some of this survival stuff. Move it to our new location. Yeah, I had an appointment. You're right to call that out so that you're at least paying attention. And I don't catch shit to do yesterday. I didn't want to. But moving forward in the future, all of these lives will be Thursday for exclusive sneak peeks. That's going to be our main piece of survival equipment. We do got some gear with us. Jason Voorhees style pocket knife. trying to get as much of this insulation as possible. We got sword ferns. We got Solalis. You know, the thing about this wood is it's heavy and it's rotten. I mean, this stuff holds no value. And I should have known going in, but I was being lazy trying to cut corners and I paid for it, you know? This shelter seemed like a good idea, but the only thing of value here now is the tarp and some of this insulation, such as the Solalis and ferns. We're gonna get a pile of that going. All of this stuff really helps insulate the tarp, the shelter build. I think the plan for this is to put as much of this stuff in the tarp as possible. Roll it up and haul it to the new spot. Hey, I appreciate you enjoying the videos, man. I love it. I love being out here. This is where I love it. I love it. I love the rain. Love getting soaked. All right. Part of me wishes it was about 75 degrees and I was out here playing around in a t-shirt. But if I didn't go outside in the rain in the Pacific Northwest, I'd never go outside. But yeah, this is my happy place, man. Just being out in the woods. Appreciate the fact that you're enjoying the video. Taking a minute. You know, it was the premise of this shelter was good. I mean, I should have just been more careful. The rotten out wood was a dead giveaway that this wasn't the place to be. Trying to keep my camera dry here. Whoa, definitely not trying to do that. Well, I guess we're just forever zoomed in now, and that's unfortunate for you guys because Ankh hasn't trimmed his nose hairs in a week, but hopefully you guys are at a high enough angle that won't be a problem. Let's finish cannibalizing this shelter and pack up and head to the new spot. Well, we gathered up what sources we could. Hopefully we didn't glitch out. There's only about one guy up in here still watching. But it's time to move to a different spot. Hopefully this video quality is okay. It seems like a lot of people drop off. And we're out in the middle of nowhere. It's pouring down rain, and we're doing it live. So it's hard to get quality pictures. We got all of our stuffed into our backpack, which is just a fancy ass tarp. Just kidding, it's a Dollar General tarp because we're on a budget. Now all we gotta do is hike it about a quarter mile through some dense brush. Oh, who put this tree here? Sorry for the zoomed inness. I think we got through the hard part. I think it was a pretty good idea to use that tarp to carry all this stuff. Hopefully the video quality isn't terrible. Can't imagine it being that great. Nothing says like, I think my arm's gonna fall off. Like hauling a bag of, I guess yard waste through heavy brush. But hey, I'm here for it. Alright, coming up. Then I'll zoom out. Ugh. I think we lost a good chunk of our load. It's a wet one though. Alright, we made it back to the spot. Brought our load. And I think that was the easy part, to be honest. That's the old survival shelter there. You can see we got a cross frame with some leaves and other stuff growing right here. You can, if I could get my tripod to work. Sorry about that, need a minute. It's freezing cold and sweaty and soaking wet all at the same time. It's a great place to be. A little quick gear I got with me. I got my 1980s Boy Scout hatchet. What else we got? Got a little folding saw. This thing's been working absolute killer out here. I mean, I'm not sponsored. There's no brand here, but folding saw. We also got a little bit of paracord and a bale of twine. I think those are kind of the essential items you're going to need when trying to create a bushcraft shelter. Also going to need a cup of coffee, but I absolutely didn't bring that with me. Rain is going absolutely freaking berserk. I'm going to try to find you guys a little drier of a spot. I'm really torn between the, wow, it is absolute downpour right now. I'm lucky I'm in these trees. I think the plan now is I need to decide if I'm going to try to rebuild the old structure that was already there, or if I'm going to try to move forward with something new. The only problem with the old shelter is I want to go bigger, right? I'm an American, you know, and I know I'm only like 4'9", so I don't need anything huge. But like bigger is always better, except for when it comes to survival, because if it's bigger, it's harder to heat. So I'm thinking, since I already have the original frame here, putting the tarp over it, adding to it, maybe making it, you know, a frame instead of we're a long ways from that. I guess the goal for right now should be to yeah, Pickles, I get some Starlink out here. I guess what I'm actually just putting off is gathering more material. That's what it comes down to. And there's not going to be a build in this video. You're going to have to tune in Sunday for that. But I think the next plan is to just gather some buildable materials. I think we're going to need roof materials, support beams, and something to help insulation. It's raining now, but by the time the next video airs, it's going to be like 29 degrees, and I'm going to need to figure out a way to heat it. So the video coming out Sunday is going to be the build itself. Video number 2 is going to be how the hell do I heat this, and I got something in mind for that, but we're just giving you a little sneak peek. I think the plan for now is to scope for materials, you know. This is a big one. I think our roof structure here is absolute garbage. So while I like this site because there's a slight hill, I guess I'm going to go through this real quick. See if it, had I put any weight on that, it would absolutely crack too. The hardest part about this in the Pacific Northwest is finding wood that isn't rotten out. And that might mean cutting a few live trees. I'm going to go through this old shelter here, see what's salvageable, what's not. Just kind of make piles. Definitely a little windy, definitely a little rainy. Drawing up my gang sign. Alright. Yeah, and just like that, there is no old shelter. These are all green branches that I chopped down. This is back before I was even really doing this for YouTube. I was just doing it for fun. All this wood here is just rotten. I mean, absolute. And you're looking at that and you're like, oh, that's a nice piece of nice piece of wood and make a great center ridge. But it just snapped into 3 pieces with a simple toss. I was hoping I'd be able to use some of this, but it looks like this is a complete redo. Which means I should probably scout a couple different. I like this general area because it's protected, not much from the rain, but just in general. And there's a little hill. I think my plan is to build. There's a hill here, and I like the hill behind me because that kind of gives me a brim, a little back wall that I can work with. But it's not much. I'm only talking a couple feet, maybe a 2 foot, 3 foot brim. You know, yeah, it's sorry, I'm trying to work this out in real time here. Kind of bummer that we couldn't use any wood off this old shelter here. And none of this is salvageable. I think the spot's good. I think if I build up the back wall a little bit, run a larger beam between these 2 trees, and I've been 30-mile-an-hour wind. Y'all feel that? No? Y'all warm inside your cubicle? That's alright, I'm here for it. I think the plan is clear this spot out. That tree looks better than shit. I'm not sure that's the move. I want 2 big trees that I can run a ridge line through and then drop down for a lean-to. Or I guess I could go full A-frame like the last one. I guess I'm gonna scout this area a little bit. Look for some couple good trees. If I could find a couple good trees with the backdrop, that'd be even better. And ideally, most of the weather's coming from south, that way, and from the north. It rarely comes off the ocean or from the mountains. You know, this spot right here, there's a these trees are dancing like crazy, rotting out wood. Punk's getting a little nervous, but I mean, we're here for it. You know, we could, this guy's dead here, that guy's dead right there. It is it's all a question, you know, and trying to figure it out. But either way, no matter where I decide to put it, I'm going to have to find some solid sticks. And I guess that starts with the saw, picking out a couple live trees. I think this is the area I want to build right here. There's, I don't know, half a dozen big old growth hemlocks. And yeah, my brain's just, I guess I could just run a a cord between, like, say, that tree and this tree. I think that's what I'm not, I don't know, I think we're going to do a ridge pole between this tree and this tree here. I think that's about a good, I don't know, 7-8 feet gap. And then we're going to put the ridge line between this tree over here and this tree that you can't see. But I need to find a solid ridge pole that's actually alive. I think that's this guy right here. He's probably 46 inches in diameter, hemlock, straight as an arrow. Maybe 15 feet. And I think the only thing I'm going to do is chop it down. Let's do it. Got a little bit of a pinch point going on. I think this reminds me of when I was a kid and my dad made me cut down the Christmas tree. Sorry, I'm actually a little bit gassed. Whew, I'm old. And he'd always yell at you, cut it straight. Cut it straight. You're not cutting it straight. And you're laying in the mud, cutting that Christmas tree as straight as possibly can, while your dad's a little drunk off of that eggnog, screaming at you, cut it straight. That describes my childhood. Hopefully part of yours too. I'm gonna grab the axe. I think we're actually getting hung up on another tree over there. I don't want that bottom kicking out, spearing me. This way, come on. That one's a pretty good one too. This guy over here is deader than a doornail, and he wants to come down and kill me. This was the one I was after. He's significantly bigger than I thought. Plan was to fall him that way. And that's still the plan. He's just caught up on some other trees. There he goes. Boom! Unk falling fucking trees. Let's get it. It was significantly taller than I thought. I'll flip you around. He's probably closer to a 20, 30 foot. Mr. Pickle, sorry for the delayed response. You're the goat for hanging out. What am I going to use this shelter for? Fun. Fun and content creation. Fishing sucks right now. I love being outside, love being in the forest. And I want to see if I can. You know, every middle-aged dude at some point in their life wants to know what they're capable of. And I want to see what kind of fucking shelter I can build. It all started when I was a kid. I'd come out in the woods and I'd build forts Nowadays it's called Bushcraft, but in the 80s it was called lack of the internet. You know what I'm saying? So I guess the whole reason what I'm going to use it for is I'm going to use it for fun, entertainment, just to see if I can. Just to see what kind of, it's always interested in me, right? It's always been a hobby. You know, I was building bushcraft, like I said, since I was a kid, really. Oh, if that hairline looks rough in the rain, though. Oh, shit, don't be telling people Uncle's bald. Yeah, I like this. This is a good tree, and I think if I chop it up into my original pole I was going to use is right here. So I like the two tree idea. However, finding two alive trees in this area is proving to be pretty challenging. It's raining now, and it's going to rain like this for the next maybe 90, 100, 120 days or so. My goal is just to build a waterproof shelter that I can come hang out in. That's it. 4-season camping is the ultimate goal. Maybe a bit of a bug out shelter when shit hits the fan. We're gonna chop this up. We're gonna cut this down into a more manageable size. But since it was so long, I think it'll really help out. The only problem is I don't know how long I'm going. It is absolute wet one out here today. Different vibes than perch fishing in the backyard. Hopefully y'all are here for it and enjoy this kind of content as well. We recently hit monetization tier 1, and what does that mean? That means I am eligible to charge you guys memberships, encourage super chats, and set up memberships where you have to pay to be my friend. And I'm going to just throw this out here. I know I've touched on it before, but I'm never going to do that. Next goal for full monetization, and hopefully your boy can get a steak or two off of some ad rev. This is where my dad's advice for cutting Christmas trees would have come in handy, because there is nothing remotely straight about this particular cut. Smells good though. Definitely a hardwood. But my choices here at the coast are pine and hemlock. You don't get many cedars, fir, or anything along those lines. Well, can't say we don't get them, we just don't get them very often. Lock on my cheap Amazon saw has completely failed. No link available. Touch on the monetization thing as in earlier. We might run into a little YouTube store. You guys are gonna have to get a home here pretty quick. I'm not trying to find my camera gear. But if I do find something, got our first log. This thing is pretty good. Probably about 7 foot. I think this is gonna be our benchmark for the size. 7 foot height, 7 foot length. 7 by 7 basically. Since I'm a little guy, it's gonna seem like a massive wind. Now all we need is about 30 more of them. I think it's gonna be finding 2 live trees that are exactly 7 foot apart. Might be a little bit challenging. Hey, sorry about that. My camera's hating life right about now. Even if I'm having a good time. I guess the thing we're going to be doing is keep chopping up this tree, getting some good usable wood. Even if we're not sure where exactly we're going to build it yet, having the materials ready is key. Gonna keep just chopping on this log that we just fell. Hopefully we can, hopefully this damn rain lightens up. I'm gonna go ahead and limb up that of pickles. That is a very outdated reference, sir. Everybody knows that adult novelties absolutely destroyed Playboy and what's left of my imagination. It's not midget clowns getting buka. I'm just not that into it, man. This ain't the 80s anymore, sir. Go ahead and rim up this tree a little bit. I'm going to use some of these smaller greenery for that roof layer, really help insulate it. I was hoping I could, sorry, trying to move you guys to drier ground, which doesn't seem to be feasible. I'm just going to set some of these off to the side. For the rough one. Larger pieces like this work great for filling in those gaps. Really kind of help building that roof foundation. I'm gonna insulate it with the tarp first. These are decorative pines, to say the least. I mean, we off to a halfway decent start. We also dropped one here. Let's get that cut up. Give my camera a second to catch up. Oh man, it is a absolute crap show out of weather-wise. We're gonna leave this one pretty long. If we do a lean-to, it's nice to have, 10, 12 foot sections. So if it's dropping from, 6 feet up, down, it's not just short. So I think we're actually going to leave that. We're going to limit up. Getting lots of, what are you guys, suicidal? Stay put. Guess who's going in a bag of rice when you get home? You guys. It's a wet one out here. Just finished limbing up that tree. Got lots of good material. So the thing about when you're doing this is what you think is enough is never enough. I'm gonna leave a couple of these poles longer. I can always cut them down later. But truth of the matter is I need to drop another tree, get a couple more larger poles. Left this guy, and he's probably around 13 to 14 feet. But I want to leave him long. That way I could drop him. He's pretty springy. I could maybe even bend him in half if I needed to. Looking for another little tree, maybe 10, 15 feet. Got one here. Looks like he can come down. Maybe another one there. Looking for something about 3 inches around and about 20 feet tall. Giant pencil, basically. And I need it to fall without crushing a bunch of other stuff. I think we found a pretty good victim here. Nothing like having a cheap saw. Makes the job a little more difficult than it needs to be. But this is a sneak peek, or not a sneak peek, behind the scenes. You know, I put out my last 4-minute video, and truth is, I spend hours out here working. Try to bring you guys something I enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy it too. Funny, the root system wants to rip out before the tree falls. Keep going at it, see if you can get it. You hear it? It wants to go. I think we might be caught up on some other bushes. Oh, you want to go this way? Okay. Timber. That is a success. Feels good. I'm a little gas getting there, but that gives us another 20, 30 feet easily of good fresh wood. You know, I went lazy on the last shelter build, and that's why it failed. It was absolutely rotted out. Hopefully this does it a little different. I'm gonna just chop this up into what I think is probably about a 8-foot section or so. I really should be measuring it. We're gonna leave it long. We're just gonna chop it in half, make it simple. I can always chop it down later. I can't always add to it. You know what I'm saying? So chopping it now, leaving it a little bit longer is probably in the best interest. This would be a saw failure. I don't know if you can tell how, yeah, see how straight that blade is? That makes it a little difficult to do much of anything. Without that back and forth action on the saw, I'm just pulling it through, ripping it one time because it's still bent. I can't do anything else. It's a wet one. Stubborn part about this is you're so close, yet so goddamn far away. And all else fails, hit it with an axe, right? That's the key. Hit it with an axe. We didn't bring an axe. We will next time. And you're like, why are you throwing up gang signs? I'm trying to get my tripod to follow me. Oh, we're doing it the hard way now. Close. That's what we were going for. Definite win here. Gives me a nice, probably 8 foot, maybe longer. Be great for a ridge line or maybe a rough piece as well. I'm gonna go ahead and limb this guy up. These individually don't do a whole lot, but you get a couple hundred of them. And they really help out with that insulation. Hopefully we don't turn this into Unk severs a finger while playing survival man, right? I think we're gonna go ahead and attempt to cut this guy again right here at the top That'll give us, oh, a good 10-foot section. We might limb this up a little bit more a little later. Sorry, I know this ain't exactly action-packed, but it's behind the scenes, and I'm happy you're here for it. That tree gives us another, oh, I don't know, a good 20, yeah, ain't 20 foot. It's all capped there. At least a good 12. You know, men and they're exaggerating. So this gives me a nice 10-foot pole. I'm gonna use, I'm really leaning towards the lean-to. I'm rather undecided about it, but we got two 8-foot limbs, probably 6 inches in diameter, and another two 12-foot, maybe 10-foot. I think that's a pretty good start. Once you need the big ones, especially if you're going for a lean-to, because you're dropping from 6 feet down to ground level, and I don't want that to be too sharp. I'm not trying to build a vertical wall, so those 12-foot sections kind of make it nice. I'm not really more than 8 feet wide. There's another pretty good tree right here, and I think that would clean out this area pretty well. Might build my shelter here. Only reason why I like this area for the shelter is it's got a little hill, basically. But you got to be careful with hills because things drain, you know, downhill. So I'd have to build the back wall. Long story short is there's a wall there, and I like the idea of a wall, but I'm not 100% on that. And I kind of want to have two healthy trees that I can run a pole across and then build my lean-to on that. No, sorry, all the reason for that small talk is some gas, and really putting off. This tree right here, don't follow me. Can't. Sorry to always be playing with the camera equipment, but it's pouring down rain, 20 miles an hour wind, and I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm thinking this tree right here is going to be my next victim. In the future, I'll shoot wide angle. I know that doesn't really appeal to the phone crowd, but you guys are missing half the awesomeness by being stuck vertically. You guys can turn your phone, right? Don't act like there's only 2 people in here. Don't act like you can't turn your phone sideways, Mr. Pickles. Talking to you, bro. No. Fine line between sturdy tripod and utter nonsense. I think this is going to be our next victim here. Our saw is 100% bent. But we're going to try to get him down, see what we can't do. He's pretty big. He's probably about, 8 inches. The key here is to use the part of your saw that's not bent, turning your 8-inch blade into a 2-inch. Try to bend it straight. Oh, we're close though. Timber. Well, that was anticlimactic. The real question is, are we having fun yet? And the answer to that is maybe, maybe not. I think this is going to be the last tree, last kind of piece to our puzzle. Another monster, easily 15 foot. We're going to go ahead and limb him up. And the reason this kind of helps, a lot of times these trees just grow too dense. And this thins out The smaller, weaker, dead ones allows the larger tree mass to thrive. We're actually doing the forest a favor, picking out the smaller, weaker ones of the herd to allow the strongest to survive. Angle you down. No, we won't angle you. We'll just drop you like this. Getting to that thoroughly soaked point to where my pants can't stay up. I think we're going to cut right about here. Probably at least 12 feet that way. Another good 8 feet that way. Pretty happy with this one. Probably about 12 feet. And it's a thick one, probably 8 inches around. It's going to make for a great build. This one's a little less impressive here. He's probably 8 or 9 feet. But he's not very thick, maybe 3 to 4 inches. We're going to leave it long. We might find another tree, I think. I'll show you guys what we got so far.